All right, let's do this. Something that I had to recently do is the nightmare for for some drivers. Now, if you're in perfect health and you're young and stuff like that, these steps here you probably don't even need to concern yourself with. But as you get older, like me, because I'm 45 now, and you need to kind of make sure that everything is good. The first thing that you need to make sure of is that you get plenty of rest before you go to your DOT, even as a young guy, because it could make a difference. So when you get in there, they're going to first want you to give a urine sample, which I had a problem with that because there was nothing there. So I had to. And don't make sure that you don't go before you get there. And the reason why is because if you get into that room, she'll give you this little cup. It's about like this. I'm just kidding. But you go in there and you go into a room and you got to give your urine sample. And they only want just a little bit. So when I got in there, I don't know if maybe because I'm nervous or I always get nervous when I go to a physical. I couldn't go. I absolutely couldn't. So I'm standing there holding my junk and I can't do anything with it. I mean, I just couldn't go. So I go back out there and the girl goes, well, have a seat in the... No, she goes, well, what we'll do is we'll do your vision test. So then you go where there's a hall and you read the words on there. She'll tell you, read the farthest down line you can with your left and then your right eye, on whatever line you could read at. And so I think I did level 8 or whatever it was. So I did that. And then they have these color fingers that are sticking out. Now, when you're looking at something that's like my fingers are, if you move one like this and they're pointing towards you, she'll say, which ones are pointing towards you? Now, mind you, you're like, 10 feet away or more. So, and then you have to tell her what color it was. So she had 3 of them bent, and then as I looked at it, then I says, you got to be careful, make sure you say the right one. So then I told her the colors that I could see. And they were, I'm pretty sure they're correct. So they do that, and then you go back to the sitting room, the waiting room, because you didn't produce a urine sample. Now, mind you, I got there somewhere around 10. So at 12 o'clock, 2 hours later, I go up to the front desk and I'm chugging down water. Because I want to get out of there. There's not that many people there and I want to get out of there. I'm watching people go in and out and out and I want to go. So then I go up to the counter and I tell the girl, I says, I'm ready to give my sample. So then she says, well, have a seat and I'll get the nurse. And about 5 minutes later or so, the girl calls me. So I go in there and I give my urine sample. And then she takes me into a room and tells me to, she says she checked my blood pressure, she checked my temperature and my height, and then she gave me this pair of trunks and she says, change into this paper underwear. So, and then the doctor said I didn't have to take off my t-shirt, but I did. I went to Concentric. He came in there and he listened to my chest. He shined a light through my ears. Why, I don't know. He did. They went, I could see it coming out on the other side. Then he makes you bend over and touch your toes. He didn't do a hernia check, and usually they do, but he didn't. Then he wanted me to stick my hands out, and then he'll push down, and I'm supposed to resist. He did that with going upwards, and then he did it with my feet and stuff like that. So he's going to do that. He wants to check to see how strong you are. And me, of course, I'm good. So I passed all that. And then after that, he said everything is good, and you're right. He listens to your heart and he listens to your lungs and stuff. I mean, those are all standard stuff. The only thing like I wanted to say, and then he says, okay, He says, now, Big Jim Trucker, we measured your neck and you're 15 and a half. Or no, you're 15 inches. I says, so? I said, I thought they did away with that CPAC stuff. He goes, no, they're enforcing it more. He says, because of your BMI, he says, you're this close to where I have to have you take the sleep apnea test, which would suck because I think you have to pay for that. So if you got a big neck and your BMI is up, chances are you're going to have to do the sleep apnea test. I'm just telling you, because he told me, he says, what's going to happen? You're real close, mister. He says, the next time you come in, he says, I'm giving you a 2-year now. He says, but what's going to happen is when you come back and your BMI is the same or a little bit higher than that, a little bit more, he says, we'll only give you a 1-year card because of your age, because you're over 45. No, because he says there's an age break where they'll only give you a year, which would really suck because I don't really want to do this anymore. So get some rest. Make sure you eat carrots so that you could see good. If your glasses ain't up to snuff, I would suggest you do that, because I noticed that when I did the vision test, my right eye was a little weaker than my left eye, and I didn't know that, so I'm gonna have to go and get that. But I passed, and I got the 2-year card. So it's important. Get some rest. Make sure that you don't have sex or nothing before you go. I'm just kidding about that. But and make sure that you take a nice shower and stuff and be ready to go. And like I said, I would not go. Try not to go urinate before you go. This way, when you get there, you can do that, and you don't have to wait around for 2 hours, which really sucks. And then the most important thing is now they changed it. In the state of Illinois, Concentric updates the state, the Secretary of the State. You do not have to go to Secretary of State. Now, I don't know if all places do that, but Concentric did. And I verified it because I wasn't sure if they would do that. So I called the Secretary of State the next day. And I asked the lady, I said, do I have to come in there and show you my ID? She goes, give me your driver's license number. And I did. And she looked it up and she says, no, she says, you had a test on February 16th, which was the day. He says, and so you're in here, so you don't have to do that. And I was like, sweet, I don't have to go to the DMV. So Concentric does it. I don't know about other places if they do that, or if you go to some other place. I don't know if they do it. I just know that the Concentric that I went to, they updated the Secretary of State so you don't have to go. So that's one less headache that you got to go through. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I hope that this is useful for you. If not, drop me a comment and troll me if you want, but do what you got to do in peace and be safe, drivers.